How's it going? So this is a super quick video about is option equal to value. Alright, like what does it do and why do we use it? So let's say you have some kind of options that do not exist in the original options array, right? So for my example, I just used filter options, and when you input yo, you get a drop down with completely 3 irrelevant options that don't have nothing to do with this drop down. So when you select these options, you're gonna get a yellow notification saying that, hey, let me just so let me show you. So when we type yo, we get our magic options. We select, boom, yellow warning. One is not mapped to any of the actual options. So you see we have one which is in the input field, but it's not mapped to anything. Okay, so this is what this thing is designed to do. Basically, is option equal to value is to map one, where does one go in this array, which is like very, very straightforward. It's not straightforward, it takes a bit of time to understand, but okay. So is equal to value has two arguments or parameters, whichever way you want to call it, okay? Original options array, which is this, and then selected value, which is whatever you pick. Basically whatever is in the input field that is selected. Okay? So we can see that in here. So we can say, okay, when selected value is 1 and original options array, which is this, right? So what happens is it's like a loop. It loops through original options array, every single item, and it looks okay. So think of it as mapping. It maps through every single item every time you click into the drop down. And then it has whatever is the selected value. So you can map them. You can say, okay, so if selected value name, which is this one here, and when it's mapping, it finds this thing, which is here, map it to each other. Return true. So when you return true, that means they are mapped. If you return false, that means they are not mapped. Fundamentally, the way this function works is, if you just kind of console log it, if you return true, yellow warning does not appear. If you return false, yellow warning appears. Okay? So that's fundamentally how it works. Also, if it returns true, it will highlight it. So you see, well, right now you can't see it, but let me map it, okay? So 1 we're gonna map to the first one, 2 we're gonna map to the second one, which is the Godfather from here, and then 3 we're gonna map to the Godfather part 2, like this. Everything else we're gonna return false, but they don't exist, so, okay? So now we have the mapped, we save, and what you will see is that, okay, let's just type yo, so we get our drop down 3, we select 3, okay? You will see that the third option is being highlighted, and for 3 there is no yellow warning appearing because 3 is mapped to Godfather. Again, you see, selected value is 3, so what's typed into the input field is 3, and when this thingy mapped through all the options, it found the third options. So think about the conditionally, what happened to the logic. Is the typed value 3? Yes, it is. Do we have this option inside the original option? Yes, it is. Therefore, return true. When this happens, it will highlight where it's mapped to. Do you understand? So again, if we type 1, think about this logic. If we type 1 or select 1, right? What will it be mapped to? It will be mapped to this thing here. So when you type 1 or select 1, it will highlight the first one. Okay, so let's just experiment with it. We can just type 1 like this. Oh, it's not going to. Okay, so we need to maybe do this. You see, it's mapped to the first one. And that's about it. That's all this thing does. It's a bit confusing. I mean, holy smokes, I've been at it for like collectively maybe 10 hours. I know it's embarrassing, but it takes a very long time to figure out how these mechanisms behind it work. But it works hand to hand with this filter option thing. And fundamentally all it does is, if you have some BS in a dropdown that has nothing to do with this, and you have controlled inputs like this, and you select something in the input field that does not exist in here, it's like, what are you doing, dude? And then you fix it by being, oh, when I select 1 in the input field, map it to this one. And now it's not confused anymore. And that's about it, okay? Take care, bye-bye.